What was banned in your school because of a crazy incident? In high school, a friend of mine was voluntarily cleaning a closet out for a teacher for extra credit and decided it would be hilarious to climb into the drop ceiling, scale across a pipe to the middle of the classroom, pop his head out, and sing the Spider-Man theme song from the 60s. Now there is a statement in bold, in the Student Code of Conduct for Broward County, banning students from climbing in the ceilings. He, to this day, takes pride for that. Bouncy balls. A bunch of seniors in my high school dumped a few thousand bouncy balls in the main hallway during the time between the morning periods. Kids grabbed them, started throwing them. There were reports of people getting injured, though everyone suspected such reports were exaggerated. By the next day, being caught with a bouncy ball was grounds for immediate suspension. This included holding one, passing one, tossing one, even just bouncing it outside. Stayed that way all year. Snowball fights. Our school dance was cancelled. Should note I am Canadian. Cannot believe the school administration would be surprised after a heavy snowfall there would not be a snowball fight. For picture day, the administration banned students from wearing glasses in their school photos. This was because the previous year about 9 classes of students wore the same pair of glasses and passed them around until about 75% of the student body had taken a picture with those same glasses on. It was pretty hilarious. Even if the kids needed their glasses, they weren't allowed to wear them out of the fear that the same bifocal bonanza would happen again. My high school banned the word meep. You know, like from the Muppets. Teachers thought meep was used to mean something else, like something XL. Nope. It was just funny to murmur it in the middle of class. Jukebox. High school thought putting one in the cafeteria would be a good money maker, and for a while it was. Kids were lining up playing a wide variety of whatever garbage high schoolers thought was cool in 2005, and bragging about it after. Well, one day my friend and I had enough. Our school was serving lunch from probably 10:45 until 2. So we scraped together $60 and met at the jukebox at the beginning of the first lunch. It's been a while, so I don't really remember the money to song conversion ratio. What I know is that we had Cotton Eye Joe on repeat for the entirety of that first day, until around 1 PM on the second day. There was no third day. I went to high school, graduated the same class as the guy who got suspended for wearing a Pepsi shirt on Coke Day. So, I guess you could say Pepsi shirts were banned because of Coke Day. It was crazy. Mike ended up on Letterman. Also, our school was only 2 years old at the time. It was crazy. They banned pogs at my elementary school. It's all fun and games until you play for keeps. They banned scarves in my high school because apparently the first year principal got the idea in her head that only gang members wear scarves. The weirdest part was we lived in an upstate New York town that never had anything close to a gang problem. Long story short, every student protested by wearing scarves the next day. CNN caught wind of it, and my school got national attention for the first and last time. Shortly after that, the principal was fired, scarves were allowed again, and everyone stopped wearing them like usual. Eating in the library. Some kid slammed a cheeseburger in a book and placed it back on the shelf. Glue sticks. There was a fad where people would throw glue sticks onto the ceilings all around the school. It became a big game about who can get one in the most bizarre place. A couple years after I started high school, my former middle school banned lotion because a bold young chap was found servicing himself in the locker room. They posted no lotion signs all over the school. In 8th grade, I was part of the first graduating class of a new school in my town. Since it was just starting out, administration was still finding its way. Because of this, as the year passed, they banned glue because of sniffing, Sharpies, Ditto and vandalizing, rubber bands. They were used to fire wasps, little pieces of paper, at each other, tennis balls, chucked them at each other for some reason. Walking across the cafeteria, or switching tables, or even walking clockwise around the cafeteria. They decided you could only walk counterclockwise around it, to avoid students bumping into each other. And we had assigned seats. Boxing gloves, because a couple of years ago, a few guys started a fight club in one of the bathroom stalls. Axe body spray was banned from my middle school because some kid sprayed the remaining of his can into his mouth. He ended up doing some pretty serious damage to his tongue, inner mouth, throat and even stomach and got really sick. To be honest, I'm kinda glad it got banned. Then kids only smelled like body odor without that strange addition of whatever axe they constantly had on. Butter packets. A group of bored middle school boys stole butter packets from the cafeteria and decided it would be hilarious to butter the top of a stairway, including the railings. A couple students slipped and the vice principal fell down the entire staircase. So yeah, after that we had to eat biscuits without butter. We weren't allowed to bring backpacks or bags of any kind to school during the last 2 weeks of the year due to a senior prank that involved water balloons filled with bleach, urine, and paint. Apparently my high school used to have an archery club for the mentally handicapped students. You kinda see where this is going. Someone got shot with an arrow. Archery club banned. I managed to get flash drives banned for about 2 weeks because I put the Halo demo on the majority of the computers. In my middle school, they banned kids from saying, "Whoop, there it is." Yep. If you said it, you got detention. Flipping pennies. Group of people would flip a penny and if it landed on the side you called out, you would cheer. If it didn't, you still cheered. Administration said that this was being used as a distraction to the teachers so that fights could go on elsewhere without them knowing. One guy got suspended for penny flipping. One of my teachers is very laid back but has a strict no phone rule while he's teaching. Two kids decided to buy walkie-talkies and bring them to class just to mess with the teacher. Now at the beginning of every year or semester he writes his cell phone policy on the board as well as his no walkie-talkie rule, in capital letters. Glow sticks. Because at one of the dances, some kids were ripping them apart and throwing the chemicals over the crowd, resulting in some getting said chemicals in their eyes. Tater tots were banned after Napoleon Dynamite came out. Apparently people kept hiding them in their pockets. Having more than 2 or 3 finals in one day. There was someone who had all of his finals in one day and he was super stressed up and just snapped. He just gave up, started collecting as many fluorescent lights as he could get his hands on. He took all of his fluorescent lights to the top of dorm and hurled them down screaming that he was Zeus. Since then we are only allowed to have 2 or 3 finals in one day. No capes. I worked at a private school that required uniforms all week but Friday was casual day. It still had a dress code but it was very broadly defined. There was this one girl, 13 years old goth, who kept coming to school in the most bizarre outfits she could think of while still staying within the dress code. Everything she came up with for pushing the line would inevitably end up in a revision to the dress code because she found yet another loophole. Girls could wear skirts of a certain length, so she'd come in with fishnet thigh highs on. Another time it was heavy gothy black makeup. Other times it would be some bizarre hairstyle. Every time I struggled not to laugh. Finally she came in with a vampire cape her mother sewed for her. Black on the outside, red velvet inside, white collar. It was freaking awesome. Between classes she'd hold it in front of her on one arm like Bela Lugosi as she made her way to her next class. Google. We have to use Bing. I don't even know why. Military recruiters in my high school are confined to having a booth in the hallway by the front entrance and walking around the cafeteria during lunch. They are not allowed to go into classes like many other schools, except the JROTC class. This is because few years before I started there, a Navy recruiter in a class started telling students about his Excel exploits while traveling around the world. At my elementary school they banned saying the terms "gosh darn it," "dang nabbit," "doo-doo," "oh my god." All because I couldn't swear and that this is what I used. It caught on and there were a bunch of 3rd and 4th graders saying these things. So, if you said any of them, you'd have to sit down during recess. No one wants to miss recess. They banned running at my elementary school. If you ran during recess, you'd be sitting on the bench for the rest of the break. My friend ran into a teacher accidentally while we were playing tag. She didn't fall or anything, but it was probably a bit of a surprise. This prompted Ms. Mean to punish the whole school. So she self-righteously banned running. The next day, Ms. Mean met with all the 5th grade classes to justify her decision. She said people only need 1 hour of exercise a week to be healthy. It was ridiculously dumb, and that's not any sort of justification for the decision. The tension in the room was palpable. My 5th grade teacher just sat at his desk, chuckling at the sheer ridiculous nature of the whole thing. The next day, the entire 4th grade and 5th grade sat down by the play structure for the entirety of recess. When they told us to stop sitting together via megaphone, everyone walked around the perimeter of the kickball field and sang songs together. My friends and I made a ton of flyers to bring back running. While we were handing them out before school, the principal grabbed one. We thought we were in huge trouble. It turns out the principal was never told about this ban on running. Mean old lady was taken off yard duty. I don't think she works at my elementary school anymore. Viva la revolution. What was banned in your school because of a crazy incident? Leave it in the comments below.